Hi,
Hi,
Tracy.
hi, Rachel. How are you?
I'm doing great to start. I literally just got off the plane from being at South by. So when this movie obviously premiered there, and so I wanted to know from you, how has it been since like now that you're getting to release Bob Trevino Likes It for a wider audience to experience the post South by versus like what the South by audience was like?
Oh my gosh, it was amazing. We had standing ovation at our premiere, and it wasn't, full of ego at all. It was hearts. People were standing because their hearts had been affected. It was so beautiful. When we won South by, I cried so loud because they started they started describing the film before they said the name. So it's like a semi-autobiographical, and I was like, uh-oh. I said a story about a young woman. I'm like, oh, and that could have been vulnerable without its two lead or could have been saccharine without it, vulnerable performances from its two lead actors. And I just lost it. I knew it was going to be us at that time, and I was crying so loud that the people in front of me were like, shh. And I was like, no, no. It's like they thought I was in her, like being loud for whoever was winning. And then I stood up and they were like, oh, wow, it's you. But I can't even begin to tell you how beautiful it's been, It's also been very inspiring. It makes me feel like, the things I have to say really can help the world right now, and I want to say more of them. Just show up and be vulnerable and honest and tell stories that unite us. It's really important to me. So,
When I think, stories about dads and like people's relationships with them are so unique because for a long time we have seen the male gaze of the like father and son relationship or whatever it is. And as someone who like my dad died, so I have like a weird relationship with father movies. It's nice to have that kind of film, even though this is a little bit more than it's more than that. It's not just a movie about dads. For you, how was it navigating, like you said, it's somewhat autobiographical, like navigating your own feelings on it versus like how people have been talking about the movie to you?
when we were shooting it, I tried to just honor the emotional truth of everything, and I feel like the movie tells you what it's meant to be as you're directing, and I try to be really open to that, and I'm really glad I listened and that I didn't just make it exactly like my situation or try to have Barbie be me, which was not the case. Barbie is an incredible human being, and she showed up as herself, and her truth as this character. So and then finding that my truth and Barbie's truth and all our cast and crew's truth are affecting other people in this way in these audiences. It's just been really beautiful, and it is kind of the reason we do what we do. And you hope for this, but you don't really know. And and it is kind of it is a movie that's meant to be seen with an audience, if possible, because the audience is mirroring the experience on screen. There's two strangers meeting and they're being there for each other, and then you're having these emotions with strangers, and um, so I hope that answers that question. But it's just been incredible.
It definitely does. And for my last quick thing I just want to ask, with a movie like this, you've John Leguizamo, who I grew up watching in like Moulin Rouge and uh Romeo and Juliet and things like that. How was it working with him and like having him play this more grounded character in a movie? Because we haven't seen that in a long while with him. He's normally the funny guy that we're like, yeah, it's John
Uh,
Leguizamo.
I remember we had a talk early on, and there was an understanding that he could never try to be charming as Bob, and he could never flirt or something like that,
Mhm.
or to get what he wants. Actors have tactics, right? Like they usually have a 4 or 5 tactics that are their go-tos, and he's very funny. He's a charming guy, and I said you can only be funny on accident, or if you're like telling a dad joke. That's basically it. So I don't know. I haven't asked him exactly, but I feel like it was a challenge that he definitely achieved. He overcame and achieved, and I love not seeing people in the boxes that the industry tries to put them in. I think we have such incredible artists that are being boxed in, and they have so much more to show. And so across the board we tried to, like, you talk about the male gaze. We shot this with a feminine gaze. And at my DP and I worked very hard to make sure every shot was not what do they look like, but what are they thinking, what are they feeling. And across the board, we're like, what is Lily thinking? What is she feeling? Wardrobe, lighting, everything. And to bring an audience into having that kind of experience. And same thing with John and all our other characters as well.
Thank you so much for talking with me. I really appreciate it. And I
Thank
can't wait
you.
for everyone else to get to see Bob Trevino Likes It.
Thank you so much, Rachel. I appreciate it.
You have a great one.